So I've got the rear on the rear stand, and then I've got my awesome scissor jack here that is so easy to do. Look, I can just do this simply one-handed to lift the bike. I've got it rested on the frame underneath securely, and look, the wheel is already starting to come off the ground. So I just needed to get it enough off the ground again to be able to slide it out. I'm gonna pull the axle out, and I should be able to slide the wheel easily out. So just enough to be able to do that. I'm gonna put it back on the ground momentarily, so that way I have some friction when I'm loosening up the bolts around to get the axle out. So I'm gonna put it back down real quick. So it's kind of just touching. It has some pressure there. So I'm gonna bring it back down, and I'm gonna start taking apart the front end. So the first step here is you need to remove these two tension screws. They're hex head right here in the front of the axle. They actually squeeze this head of the axle here. They squeeze this. And so then next, this needs to be removed. And you need quite a big socket to go in there. I actually have this adapter socket for just this kind of situation, which is pretty cool. And it will go into various sizes. And so it's gonna go right in here. So the next step now is to loosen this on up, and I should be able to pull the axle through. All right, guys, so I've got the axle nut here pretty much loose. I can almost pull this straight out with my hands. One other thing I did and want to do before I pull the wheel out is I actually just remove the brakes on each side and just have them hanging down here next to the wheel. Don't want them to beat up the wheel though, so I'm gonna hang it behind like that. It's that way the whole thing slides out easy. So I'm gonna pull this out, and then I'm gonna lift it up a little bit more with the jack, and I should be able to pull that wheel straight out. Okay, pull the axle rod out. So let's just set that here for now. Now I should be able to pull this wheel straight out. There you go. That's how you remove the wheel. So you can see the whole thing is hanging up. Obviously makes me a little nervous, probably just as much as you guys, but no earthquakes here in Texas, so we should be just fine with it hanging out. So now I'll just take this wheel, throw it in the back of my car, take the new tire, which is in the box right there, over to the shop, have them balance, reverse install. Also, one thing to note, when you have this part, it's also a great time to look at your brakes and see how the pads are doing. And I have another pad set. These are okay as far as thickness, kind of hard to tell. There we go, a little bit better. But I'm gonna replace them while we're at it, because this is all taken apart. So might as well replace your pads too. While you have things taken apart, re-grease everything before we put things back together. But that's actually pretty easy. So let's get the tire over, get that working on, and then I'll also get new pads installed on the calipers. All right, guys. New day here. I've taken the wheel in and got the new beautiful tire mounted on. So we're gonna get this mounted up. It's basically just the same thing in reverse. The key to any successful axle replacement is to make sure that you have the right torque. So I got my torque wrench here, and the front is 65 Newton meters. So let's see if I can get that to where it needs to be. Oh, there it is, quick. 65, nice and snug. And then these, I believe, we do to 22. So I'm gonna tighten those down using the same torque wrench, except with the hex bit, to 22. Now let's put the beautiful Brembo brakes back on, and you could see there I've got my new meaty pads in place. So this should just slide right in. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there you go. Super easy. So that's gonna go right there, and I gotta slide in the two bolts, these two bolts, and I'm gonna need my other hand. So I'm gonna set the phone down real quick while I get these bolts in. Okay, brakes are back on. Looking good, tightened to spec. Now we're gonna move up to the top where I've gotta reattach or re-screw on the lid for the brake fluid. Now, when I was doing the brakes, a lot of the brake fluid actually rises up. Let me get out of the sun here. It actually rises up because you're squeezing the brakes together, and this is not a brake DIY, but just to show you guys, this fluid was full, almost to max when I started, and when I started squeezing the calipers together, or excuse me, pushing them apart to create space for the new pads, it kept rising up and up and up, and I had to use a syringe that I have to pull out the fluid. And now it looks like it's actually in a pretty good spot to just actually button it up. So that's what I'm gonna do now. And then I'm gonna take her off the stand and we're gonna see how it looks. New tire, looking pretty. All set, guys. Not too difficult to take off, do yourself as long as you have the right tools and the right jacks and stands. But again, I just took this off, took it to a local shop. It was 25 bucks to get the tire mounted on, and now I'm back in business. So I'll leave the link to the description for the tire itself below if you're interested in getting one, because like I said, I found this one on Amazon. And of course, as always, good luck out there wrenching. Hit me up in the comments. See ya.